Thank you, Abrar, and welcome this morning. Exactly 1 month ago today, our brother Jamal Khashoggi entered the consulate of Saudi Arabia in Istanbul, Turkey. For him, it was a happy occasion because he was seeking papers to allow him to marry his fiancée. He never left the consulate. Following his disappearance, the Saudi government blatantly concocted a series of lies, all of which, but one, they've had to retreat from. No, they said. He left the embassy safely. A lie. Contradicted by their own government, under pressure from the Turkish intelligence community. Well, he was injured and died tragically in a fistfight. A lie. He was cold-bloodedly murdered. No fistfight. It was a rogue operation. A lie also repeated by the President of the United States in speculative form. Not true. This was premeditated. 15 members of the Saudi government, military, intelligence, a forensics expert, an autopsy expert, accompanied with a bone saw, flew in with malice aforethought. Flew in not just to abduct our friend Jamal, but to kill him. And they did. And now we have the Saudi government actually admitting, yes, it was premeditated. So there's only one lie left to be addressed, and that is the involvement of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia himself. This is not a time for equivocation or rationalization or even balancing economic and military ties against one admittedly horrific action. This is about, for the United States, who are we? Are there things that rise above bilateral ties and self-interest? How much is a human life worth? A human life that represented the simple desire of freedom. Jamal was not a radical. He didn't advocate the overthrow of his country's government. He wanted to loosen up Saudi society. He wanted more freedom for people to read the truth, to hear the truth, to live their lives in a freer way. And for that set of crimes, he gave his life. Those horrific circumstances surrounding his brutal murder, premeditated, and the dismemberment of his body to hide those remains so that there would be no evidence of the crime, cannot be forgotten. It can't be a tragic episode we move on from. Unfinished business is unfinished business. The United States must speak with a full-throttle voice on this matter. A legal U.S. resident, a columnist for one of our premier newspapers, a journalist pursuing the truth, an advocate for his people and his country, simply calling for reform and more freedom. His memory, his legacy must be protected. In fact, it must be pursued. And I'm here to tell you it will be. There are some of us who will not forget and will not let up until the truth is revealed and actions follow from the truth. In a tragic way, Jamal has already made a difference. Already there are reassessments about the relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia, the relationship between Saudi Arabia and its neighbors, about the role of the king and the crown prince in the kingdom, about how the royal family makes decisions, about brutality within the kingdom and policies currently being pursued by that kingdom, especially in places like Qatar and, of course, tragically in Yemen. So if the purpose was to silence a moderate critic, the consequences are an unraveling of a whole set of policies for Saudi Arabia that may lead to all kinds of changes. And ironically, that will be Jamal's legacy. I call upon President Trump to speak clearly and unequivocally about what has happened and about what the United States is prepared to do by way of response. Not balancing a death of one man brutally in the consulate of another country, in another country, against military interests. This is no time for that kind of balancing act. This is a time to speak morally, for once. The murder of an honorable man must be remembered, must be honored. And this is, in a sense, a simple moment, not a complex moment for the United States to speak about this in terms of to assert our values, which are not limited to the West, as Jamal was pointing out. Freedom is innate to the human being. It is a universal desire, and it needs to be universally honored. And so 1 month after Jamal's tragic death, we rededicate ourselves to that notion of freedom that transcends cultures and religions, and hopefully will transcend short-term politics, especially here at home. Let's honor the memory of my constituent, our brother, Jamal Khashoggi. Thank you.